Welcome to South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux. Thank you for joining us as we share information, tips, and techniques that can make our business community and your business more successful. Thank you to Stockton University for the opportunity to produce this show focusing on business in South Jersey. Today we are going to take a look back and revisit a few of our past interviews on the show, bringing back into focus those guests who were part of the South Jersey business early on. And there's no better place to start with than our very first episode. Let's revisit Eric Rich, President and founder of Rich Asset Management. Eric, welcome to South Jersey Business.
Thanks, Joe.
So take us back to the beginning. How did you start your entrepreneurial journey?
I started out as a pre-med major in college and realized quickly that that wasn't really what I wanted to do. I liked business more. And I always had an affinity for this business ever since I was a kid, buying shares of stock as a teenager, really. And but I always wanted to run a company the way I envisioned it. And when you work for somebody else, you don't get to do that all the time. So I changed it around a little and went out on my own and built it exactly the way I always dreamed about.
Now, you and I have known each other for a few years, and we always talk about this idea of having mentors and being a mentor. I know you had a mentor. How important was that to the process and to your success in business?
It was huge. I mean, having a mentor is having someone that's made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. You know, they've done things in business, they've tried things that were successful, they tried things that failed, and you get to learn from that without having to learn the hard way. So to me, having a mentor was huge. I would never be where I am today without my mentor.
But your organization, your business specifically, has been a huge community supporter as well as business community supporter. You're so involved. Can you talk about how that came about and the importance of that when you're in business?
Sure. I joined the Cape May County Chamber of Commerce when I started in business 20 years ago and became a board member for the Business Development Committee at the time. And, the Chamber's a great organization, as all the regional chambers are, because they function to support local businesses. So helping those businesses succeed helps all of us because we then in turn support those same businesses. And I always say keeping money local is the way to do it. The more money we can keep in the community, the more money ultimately stays still in the community by purchasing more goods, more services, and everything from local business owners.
I've known you for a number of years, and I watched you develop this really great team. Every great business that I worked with or talked to has a really solid team. Can you talk about how you developed that team and that trust within your team to be more successful in business?
I mean, your team is the engine that drives the car. So without your team, you don't have a business. I always say it's impossible to be successful in business without having a good quality team. So to me, my mentor used to joke, but he was mostly serious. And he said, overpay your staff. That way you know you're getting the best. And treat them very well and treat them the way you'd want to be treated. And they start to buy into the philosophy and culture of the company. And when you can do that, that's what really makes everything work.
What's one of the most important business lessons you've learned in operating your business for so long?
You're the everything when you first start. Friends of mine will always say, oh, it's great, you can come and go as you please, and you set your own hours. And I said, you need to understand, I'm the janitor, I'm the CEO, I'm the marketing people, I'm the accountant, I'm the everything. You are the company when you first start out, especially before you have staff and everything else. So there's a lot of moving parts there. So I guess the big lesson I learned was that running a business isn't just doing what it is you do for a living. It's actually a whole separate thing running the company itself.
Thanks again to Eric for sharing with us the strength of mentorship, teamwork, and community impact. Next up is John Henderson, Executive Event Producer for Good Time Tricycle. Let's check out John as he shares his journey, some thoughts on naming your business, and the need of setting and sticking to your budget. John, thanks for joining us.
Bro, thanks for having me.
You know what? You're going to be a great guest. I'm excited about the show. Can we talk a little bit about life before you took your entrepreneurial endeavor and you took that leap of faith?
I don't even know that there was life before that, but we'll take a shot, right?
Right. So what were you doing before, and when did you have that light bulb moment of, hey, I want to start my own business?
I never actually wanted to start my own business. I never really even thought about it. I worked for Caesars Entertainment. I was an executive for player development. I was a casino host for a long time. And on the sides, I was kind of doing events. I was doing my thing, having fun. Went to leave Caesars Entertainment, and they're like, no, don't go. Do what you're doing on the outside for us here. I'm like, can I still do my other stuff? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I was like, yeah. And they gave me more money. So why was I going anywhere? I was like, yeah, I'm cashing checks. So they promoted me to the director of business development for Caesars Entertainment on the Eastern Division. And I produced events like Chocolate, the Food Network Food and Wine Festival, the Yvonne Lendl Tennis Open. So I did a bunch of stuff. And I did it for about 2 years. And I thought, you know what? I don't need you guys. My stuff, and not, I need them. You know, they're sponsors. Caesars, I absolutely need you 100%. But I thought I could do this on my own. I'm producing these events from scratch for a major corporation. My beer festival's doing well. My tattoo expo's doing well. We're about to launch a seafood festival. I've got to make the leap. And, every day, it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made.
We're going to talk about that decision, but I'm glad it was one of the best decisions you ever made. Let's go back to the name of the company. You had an opportunity to name this creation, this event company that you created. How did you land on the name? Because I know everybody wants to know the answer to that question.
So this was actually a test of my ego, right? Because I've got a giant ego. It's sitting in this chair right here. I didn't want to name it after myself because I just thought, if something goes south, my name's Mud. Right? And it's just, I thought, to name it Henderson Event Productions, or it was relatively pompous, you know, and I apologize for anybody named Henderson Event Productions. It suits you. So my wife and I were out and about. We were at Cobweb Corner in Absecon.
Okay.
And my daughter, Lyra, was sitting on this old beat-up tricycle. My wife's like, get off that. You're going to break that, or you're going to get hurt. I said, what are you talking about? Somebody probably had a great time on that tricycle, and hence the name A Good Time Tricycle was born. Just think about it. Have you ever got on a tricycle and had a bad time?
Never. Always have a good time on the tricycle.
So we produce events that are always a good time.
You did a really good job framing up like a number of events in the first couple minutes of this interview, and you built a very solid, sustainable company that continues to grow. But what challenges had you faced along the way? Was there anything that pops out that says, wow, this could have gone in another direction if you didn't overcome those challenges for a business owner that might be starting out that faces some challenges?
Understanding budgets in the beginning is usually a challenge. You've got a vision, and you think this vision will be awesome, but this vision takes fuel that is capital, that is cash. And in the beginning, it was kind of working through budgets and understanding, that if I wanted to deliver what I told people I was going to deliver, and I had to build a budget that did that. And that in the beginning was kind of challenging, figuring out, I was relatively new to, large-scale event production. I mean, we're going back 17 years.
Yeah.
So, that big budgeting piece, I want to make sure that if I say this is what I'm offering, this is what people tend to come to and experience. And, there were a couple events where I got beat up pretty good because, my model was if I say we're doing it, and you're going to have a great time. Win, lose, or draw.
That sounds like one of the best business lessons you learned as well. The budgeting was a huge part of it.
Yep. And then when I talk to students like here on campus, who are thinking about getting in the event world, it's like, remember two things. Deliver what you promise and watch your budgets.
John, thank you for sharing a portion of your entrepreneurial story.
Thanks for having me, bro.
What we have coming up next might not be our earliest show, but I would like to take a moment to feature and recognize one of the many guests who participated in our virtual studio production during COVID-19. Let's check out Kevin and Alicia Stauffer, the owners and operators of Hooked on Breakfast. And now it's time for the spotlight, where we gain some extra illumination and turn the spotlight on Hooked on Breakfast, located in Ocean City, New Jersey, to learn about exactly what they offer to the community and the business region. Kevin, Alicia, thanks for allowing us to turn the spotlight on your business.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, so what is it that Hooked on Breakfast offers to the community?
Basically, we wanted to offer an affordable dining experience, something that's super high quality, as homemade as we possibly can, and affordable. It's a family destination, so we wanted to make sure that all families could afford coming here. And we wanted to keep it as homemade as possible. A lot of our breads and, French toasts and rolls, everything's homemade, but we had to keep it so that we can get the food out the window and to the customer as quickly as possible.
Yeah, well, you're really hitting those high marks. I mentioned, I'm a fan of the food and it's good stuff. So how do you pull that off? How are you able to do all that? How do you do that?
Well, I think part of it is our work ethic, and living in such close proximity to the business is certainly helpful for us to manage that time piece. But I think it's also, we set it up for speed. So breakfast and lunch is a speed kind of meal. You're not sitting for 3 or 4 courses. So, there's a lot of prep work that goes in to get the day ready so it can be fresh and ready to go. And then when we're here, it doesn't take long to cook it. Even though, things are homemade, it's pretty quick to get breakfast and lunch out the door quickly. So, and families in this area, they want to go on to the next thing. They want to go to the boardwalk. They want to go to the beach. They want to go on their boat. They want to go shop the avenue. They want to do other things. They want to get a great meal and they want to go on about the rest of their day. So it's that speed in a welcoming environment that really helps us.
Yeah, all those things you mentioned, you can do within like walking distance of your location. So that's great. I love it. What a great location. So who makes up your customer base? You mentioned what they like to do, but who do you see coming into the business? What type of people come in?
I think we see a little bit of everything. We certainly see a lot of friends and people that we've known because we've lived in this area our whole lives. So we're seeing a lot of people that we know, but we're seeing a lot of people that are locals and live in the area, whether it be on the island or right offshore, that come all the time to see us. We see a lot of people that are on vacation or have summer homes. We see a lot of seniors that are retired and, that's their routine is they go out to their favorite places to eat. And a lot of people with kids, they like our little Mickey Mouse pancakes and some of those little things that, it's just a pancake, but the kid, when you shape it like Mickey, they're super excited. So we see a little bit of everything.
Well, this might require a little bit more of a reflective answer, but why do you do what you do? The why of it?
I think it's just because we love doing it. I mean, we did it when we were younger. We got away from it for a while and we kind of just always missed it. And we talked about it for years about getting back to it and doing it. So we finally just pulled the trigger and we don't regret it, not for a second.
It was kind of like, why not? If we're going to do it, now's the time. If, you wait another 10 years, you might not have the energy or want to do it anymore. So it's just been really fun for us.
I think it was definitely a right place, right time, right location that allowed you guys to do what you need to do. So final question for the spotlight. How much fun are you having doing this every day?
It is fun.
It is. Yeah, a lot. It's just really neat to see this whole process come together. Sometimes I'll say to him, like, can you believe we did this? Like, we took this building and did a major renovation and gutted it down and put an addition on. And then the pandemic hit and we managed to open. And we have this great staff who really worked so hard for us this summer as an opening season. I feel so fortunate that we were able to do this and we are loving it. And we haven't had a day off yet in some capacity, one part of the day or another. Each of us have done something for the business and I love it. And he loves it. And it's fun still. Very, very fun.
Kevin and Alicia, I want to thank you for allowing us to turn the spotlight on your business today.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
That was today's spotlight, providing a clear view of what Hooked on Breakfast is all about. We'll be right back. As you are aware, management, marketing, money, and media are the essential parts of any business. And our guests know how to mix up all 4 M's every time we put them to the test with the M4 Big Money question. Let's start with our first M4 Big Money question with Bob McAllister, owner of Comfort Now. All right, let's break them down. Bob, can we talk about your management style?
Terrible. All right. I'm a World War I fighter pilot flying by the seat of my pants. So the kids get on me all the time about that. I'm the big picture guy. I'm terrible at details.
Well, the funny thing is you're meeting a measurable level of success. So whatever you're doing is working. I guess the team's working with you on that. But I know you know how to manage. I appreciate the humor. Let's talk about marketing, more traditional forms of marketing. What do you use to get the word out traditionally?
Joe, I'm a marketing knucklehead. First marketing class was here at Stockton. And so I'll try all sorts of marketing, print, radio, TV. Print's tough right now. It's fading out. TV, we've been on TV for years, radio. Our vehicle look is very important. Everything that we do focuses around marketing.
And that definitely covers the traditional part. Let's break it down to the third M. Let's talk a little bit about money. I know it's always a subject people don't always want to talk about, but let's talk a little bit about it.
Two things. Cash flow. Make sure you get your money in. Go back to my father. We had the trams on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. We were charging 50 cents to ride the trams. So one year he said, look, we're going to increase the price to 60 cents. I said, that means nickels and dimes. We're going to have to make change. That's a real pain. He turned to me and said, it's 20% increase. You'll make it bleep and change.
I love that. That's great. All right, so we're arriving at the fourth M. Let's talk about it, media, and that includes the PR and the social media. So how important is that to you right now?
Again, marketing, social media, internet marketing, pay-per-click, SEO, all those things come into play today. They're all very important to keep your business going forward and growing.
You're a very social guy. We talked earlier in the show about your education value to the customer and how you educate the customer, and sometimes they're more educated because of the information that's out there on the web. How involved are you on the development of the social media for your business? Because it seemed to have your brand at heart. So are you involved in the social media as it comes out of the company?
Well, you start from nothing and you're doing everything. Okay, so that continues on. You establish the footprint and other people then start to walk along the same path. It's important that we present the same image no matter where we are, what we're doing. That is who we are, whether it's social media or something on the trucks.
You know what's interesting? You spawned another question in my brain about this. Your name is synonymous with Comfort Now. You're Comfort Bob. That's part of your brand, right? Comfort Bob. So at what point how do you separate the social media brand of Comfort Now Bob, Comfort Bob, with Bob McAllister, the non-Comfort Bob? How's that work? I mean, I know I have it a little bit with the work I do, but your name's right on it. So how much fun are you having with that, keeping those two things separate?
I don't know there's a separation. I think, who I am is what I am, and that's what I do, whether it's out socially, in business, working with people, taking care of customers. I'm the same guy all the time.
You definitely love what you do, and you're doing what you love. I know that. Final question for the M4 Big Money question would be, how important are the areas of management, marketing, money, and media to the success of your business?
Well, I don't think it is a four-legged stool. You need all four to prop it up and sit comfortably. So you have to work at all four facets all the time. And it's one of the things I work with the boys. They all have their strengths, and they learn from me to do some of the different things that they aren't so strong in. I learn from them too.
I think that's a great way to end the M4 Big Money question. Great answers on this. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate being here.
There you have it. Owner of Comfort Now, Bob McAllister's comfortable and experienced mix of management, marketing, money, and media. Thanks to Bob and the team at Comfort Now. We have one more big money question coming up with Susan Adelizi-Schmidt, president of Suasion Communication Group. All right, Susan, let's break down those 4 M's. Let's talk a little bit about your management style.
So my management style is definitely a macro style. I like to be able to teach people how to do something and allow them to do it on their own without a lot of micromanagement. I think that that type of style allows people to grow into a position and then take more of a leadership position as well.
Great. So you work with marketing every day, but how do you market your entity? What do you use to market your business?
So for Suasion, I am out in the community all the time. I do a lot of seminars and I teach constantly entrepreneurs, nonprofits, real estate people, how to do everything in terms of marketing or social media and branding, and that's basically how we're able to keep our name out there all the time.
So we're up to the 3rd M. Let's talk a little bit about money. What's your views on the money?
Well, my view is cash flow is it's a good thing. Cash flow is really the most important thing when it comes to looking at money and a business. And you have to plan ahead. You have to do your projections. You have to think about, if you have a cyclical business, if you're going to have, more money in the summer and not so much in the winter, how to plan for all of that.
Well, that's an answer from somebody with experience, and I'm sure that's something that was part of the plan as you grew. But at what point did you realize the importance of that? Was it when you opened the business, or as you grew the business, that the planning and the cash flow became part of the mix?
Well, I think I was pretty fortunate when I first started. I first took over Smith O'Keefe and rebranded under Suasion. There were hard times then. It was in 2007. It was probably the worst time to start a business. So when you start a business in really lean times, you learn how to plan at a very early stage in the game. So luckily, we've been fortunate and successful over the last 10 years. But I think those lean times in the beginning, because the economy was doing so poorly, definitely made you focus on planning and projections.
Now, you deal with media every day. But let's talk about the importance of media today, because it is very important. It deserves its own category, media. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Well, media is everywhere. It's in your hand while you open up your phone every single minute of the day. So it's ubiquitous. Everyone has access to it. I think because of that, we have more opportunities to push out content. From a business perspective, media outlets are looking for this type of material all the time. So definitely, you want to be more aggressive in getting your content out there and making sure that the media receives it and takes note.
So you have a great balance of the 4 M's, but you also have a life outside of work. You have 2 wonderful children, a daughter and a son. How do you balance workload with that family life?
Well, I grew up in a family business, so work and family kind of all mixed together when I was a kid, and I think it kind of does the same now. When my kids were younger, I used to bring them into work, and they would kind of do their thing, their homework, whatever, while I was working. So they grew up in that environment. Now that they're on their well, they're not on their own yet, but they're getting there. My daughter's 19 and my son is 15, and they're much more independent. We're able to do some functions together, that serve me both, from both perspectives, from a work perspective and a personal perspective. But I definitely make time for just the personal side of things as well. Spend some time with them.
Sounds like you have it balanced. I want to thank you for sharing your views on the 4 M's.
My pleasure.
Thank you. There you have it. Susan Edelizzi Schmidt's boutique mix on the M4 big money question. Sounds like a solid design for success in management, marketing, money, and media. Here at South Jersey Business, we always emphasize not just the importance of business, but the impact of business on our local community. We touched on this briefly earlier in the show with Eric Rich of Rich Asset Management. And our final segment on today's show will be once again with John Henderson, who shares all the ways he supports the community through Good Time Tricycle. John, we meet so many businesses in South Jersey that are involved in their community, and Good Time Tricycle is definitely involved in the community. I'd like to ask you a little bit about the work you do, and maybe we should start with the food bank, because you do a lot of work with the food bank. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship?
Absolutely. I can talk about all types of relationships. Talk about my wife relationship. Let's talk about the food bank relationship. Sure. When you're successful, it's important to give back, and it's important that the areas that you live in, that you work in, thrive. Your programs thrive. And there's a lot of good organizations that do a lot of good work. The Food Bank. We build that Seafood Fest program. He's a part of Beer Festival. A lot of the revenue on the charity side for the Seafood Fest goes back to the Food Bank. I believe this year we donated $10,000. $10,000 for the Food Bank goes a long way. It's just a fantastic organization that is on the ground doing it in South Jersey.
Yeah, that every dollar you raise for them turns into $8 of food magically for the community. They do a really nice job over there at the Food Bank.
Fantastic job.
One of the other organizations I know you're involved in, and I believe you're on the board, if I'm not mistaken, is Gilda's Club.
Yes.
Can you talk about how you got involved in the work that you do over at Gilda's Club as a board member?
So I had lost both my parents to cancer, relatively close to each other, and this organization found me. I didn't find this organization, and they told me what they did, and how they're really not about treating the cancer, but the mental components that people suffer from that are a lot of times overlooked. And I was like, wow, this is a fantastic organization, and people need this. People don't necessarily know where to get that warm hug and the understanding of what they're about to go through. And they asked me to be on the board. And I was ecstatic. And, they brought me on the board because of my skill set. And in that, we built the Dragon Boat race, which I believe last year raised just shy of $100,000 for the organization.
That is an amazing run through a race, which I love to earn that kind of money and raise that kind of money. I guess it's a natural progression if you're involved in Gilda's, then American Cancer Society would be a natural progression to be involved in. I know you support them through a few of the events that you do.
Yeah, so we have friends that are on their boards and work with their organizations, so we always open up our doors. If we've got a catalyst to help benefit a lot of these local charities, we're going to utilize it. If you got a lightning rod, you want to capture lightning, here it is.
You know what's nice? It seems like it's an open invitation when you work with these organizations to interact with the people you interact with. I remember leaving one of the beer fests and seeing an old friend who we were just talking about off air, who's a dynamite lady, and she's heavily involved. And it was that connection, and it was that feeling of like, wow, now I can give to someone that I not only know personally, but also is there for a really good reason. And it was just perfect the way you timed that out. And I know that's part of your event production background. But those opportunities exist because you bring so many people out. It's part of the design, right?
Well, yeah, and it's important that people who are coming to these programs see that there's people in our area that are here to do good work. And we know you're having a good time, and while you're having a good time, be philanthropic. Throw us $1, throw us $20. You're doing good work.
And you feel good doing it because you just had a great time, and now you're helping someone else hopefully get through some things that they're dealing with.
It aligns up.
We talked about family earlier in the show. I know because I've fans and friends on the Facebook, but I've also been to your ranch, I'll call it, of animals. The Humane Society is something that you work with, and I know you guys believe in it. Can you talk about how you made that connection?
They cut my dog's balls off.
Goodness. Okay.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Okay.
that's how I met the Humane Society. The Humane Society of Atlantic County. We brought our dog in to get neutered, and I just saw, I saw people doing good work. They were very good with my wife, my family, and it was a very seamless, process. And in that, we heard talking about financials, and I was like, I might be able to help with some of that. And we created for the Seafood Fest the pet costume contest, which is probably, next to their golf tournament, one of the largest fundraisers that they've had in a long time. So we continued to partner, and we were like, well, we've got Beer Fest coming up. Well, we got the Tattoo Expo coming up. And they just, we all love our furry friends. Everybody loves our furry friends. We want to take care of ourselves just as much as our furry friends because our furry friends help us.
Yeah, they are definitely
So there's a
companions.
mutual healing thing. But yeah, they're great people. They do good work, they place animals in homes. They're a good organization.
I want to personally thank you for everyone that we just mentioned, the work that you do that helps the community. Please keep it going. I know you will, but I want to thank you for your community connection. It means a lot to the community.
I like doing it.
That was John Henderson, Executive Event Producer at Good Time Tricycle, with an office location in Linwood, New Jersey. We'll be back with more South Jersey business. Well, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed our stroll down business memory lane as we re-engaged with just a few of the many guests we have had on the show. Once again, thank you to Stockton University and everyone that makes this program possible. Let's do it again next time. And until then, let's get growing, South Jersey. Thanks for watching.